Good morning. Wait just a few minutes and let everybody join us. Hope y'all are having a good Monday so far. I got up extra early this morning and had to ride to work with my husband so that I could, we left his car at his office Friday when we left to go out of town, so I had to take him to work this morning, and so it was an early morning. Good morning, man, y'all are coming in fast. I hope everybody has coffee or water and maybe even something. I'll try to adjust this. Maybe even something to jot down a few notes, because we're going to cover a lot this morning. And I'll do my best to not ramble and not make it last longer than it should. But as you can imagine, with the changes rolling out yesterday, we have a lot of people who are excited. We have a lot of people who are anxious. We have some confusion. We have lots of questions, which is just to be understood. We also have some that have convinced themselves that it's just not going to work, and I'm going to do my best to unconvince you this morning. Just realized that my shirt was all wonky here, so okay. First thing I want to do is those of you who watched my video yesterday and were absolutely convinced that I was foolish enough to talk to you by video while driving a car down an interstate at 80 miles an hour. I want to prove to you once and for all that the camera reverses images. See how it's backwards? So the seatbelt that, some of you said was the proof that I was driving was reversed. My husband was driving. I don't video while I drive. I don't even hold my phone in my hand while I drive. I'm not one of those people who text and drive, so I appreciate your concern. I don't appreciate the snippy comments and the name calling, but that's okay. That's you, not me. So we'll move past that. Let's talk about the changes that are rolling out, or that have rolled out yesterday. Your app will not update until your weigh-in day. So if you don't weigh in until later in the week, you're not being singled out. There's nothing wrong with your Weight Watchers membership. It just won't change, or it's not supposed to change until your weigh-in, the morning of your weigh-in day. Now, we all know with technology, sometimes things happen, and we experienced that, I believe, Saturday, when some of you got up and your points had changed temporarily, and then they went back to what they were supposed to be. It was a computer glitch, and once Weight Watchers was made aware of it, they worked diligently to fix it. So your points and your app shouldn't change until your weigh-in day. But anyway, that's that. Now, okay, some people ask, why did they choose the foods they chose? Well, I'm not the scientist, and I'm not the brains behind anything. I'm just a Weight Watchers member just like you. But the information that we were given, and it makes perfect sense when you think about it, or at least it does to me, these foods were chosen because they are they're lean proteins. They are foods that are high in fiber. They are foods that, most importantly, you typically would not overeat. So I saw somebody jokingly posted this morning that she checked the point value of corn, and obviously it was 0 points. And I think she said she, went up to like 32 cups and it still showed 0 points. Well, that's where you come in. I typically, a portion of chicken for me before Freestyle was 3 ounces, and that's what I, you measured, and that's the point value. Okay, 3 ounces of chicken satisfied me before Freestyle. So just because the chicken is now 0 points doesn't mean I'm going to start eating 8 or 10 ounces of chicken at a time just because I can. I have to use some personal responsibility. I have to use some judgment in my portions. Just because eggs are 0 point doesn't mean I'm going to go have, 5 or 6 eggs at a time. That's just defeating the whole purpose. So remember, because the food is 0 doesn't mean it's free. There's still calories involved. There's still fat involved. And so you have to use some wisdom. The other question people are asking is, do I have to track it? You don't have to. That's part of the freedom that is the beauty of the Freestyle program. It's up to you. If you're a tracker and you like to be able to go back and look at your journal, maybe on a week that you had a really good loss, and see, wow, what did I eat that week, so that I can, do it again, then, you'll have it there. Some people like to track for personal responsibility and accountability. That's me. I want to track it because it makes me more aware of what I'm putting in my mouth. If you didn't track your fruit before, you may be okay with not tracking, but that's a decision you will have to make. Weight Watchers isn't telling you that you have to track, but they're not telling you that you no longer can track. Again, personal responsibility. You decide. Same thing with measuring. Like I mentioned, my portion of chicken before was 3 ounces, and I counted the points of those 3 ounces. I will still continue to eat 3 ounces of chicken at a time because I've proven to myself over the last year that 3 ounces is enough for me and that I could lose weight eating 3 ounces. So I'm not changing that. You do you. You figure out what works for you. I encourage you to still measure and weigh your food because it just gives you a visual of the amount of food that you're eating. And oftentimes, if I eyeball it, I think that looks about right. But if I measure it, I realize, okay, I was a little heavy-handed on that. I need to cut back on it a little bit. That's you. You figure out what works for you. When someone asks, do I have to weigh or measure, or do I need to weigh or measure? We should always preface our answer with, well, here's what I do, or what works for me is, but we should never put our values on someone else. Everybody has to figure out what works for them, and when you do, then you're doing the program your way. You're not doing somebody else's version of it. Okay, again, just be aware. Accept personal responsibility. If you decide, I'm not going to track and I'm not going to worry about my portions, I'm just going to eat off of this list of 0 point food and I'm going to live it up, and you do that for a week and you realize that your weight went up, possibly it's not that the program and the changes to the program didn't work. Possibly it's that you overate. So I personally, if you're asking me as a Weight Watchers leader, I'm going to give you the Weight Watchers answer. If you're asking me as your friend, I'm going to tell you that I would track so that a week from now when you weigh in, you can go back and look and see, where do you need to tweak? What might you need to adjust to have a better loss? Or if you had a gain, where you can see, okay, there's probably where I went wrong. I probably shouldn't have had those 3 cups of corn at one time. Or, maybe I shouldn't have had 8 eggs in one day. So that's you, but you figure out what works for you. That's what Freestyle is all about. It's just showing us what foods might be a good value for our budget, and then figuring out how that works into your day. I talked last night I posted a message about how I'm excited about things like tuna salad and chicken salad and egg salad that I probably didn't have very often before in the year that I was trying to lose weight, and now I can figure out how to have those. That doesn't mean that, I'm going to go crazy and eat it. It's just that, now if I have egg salad, I can spend a few points on having some crackers with it or something like that. So you have to still use wisdom. You can't just go crazy and, take this wonderful list of 0-point food that they've given us and eat unlimited amounts of food off of that list. Obviously, if you do that, you're not going to be happy with the result, I would think. I certainly wouldn't. But, again, you do you, I do me, and I figure out what works for me. A lot of folks are asking questions about processed food. You're looking at the point value of it, and you're seeing that it's not changing. Well, remember that a lot of processed food have a lot of filler in them. They have a lot of preservatives. They have a lot of cornstarch and things like that. So they're still going to have point values because of all of the additives and things in there. Somebody posted this morning that her breakfast bowl, the Jimmy Dean's, and it was egg whites. Well, egg whites didn't have points before, so they're still not going to have points. So the other things that are in that dish have not changed their point value. So that's why that particular dish, or a particular dish that you scan. I buy Tyson Southern style chicken tenderloins. They're breaded tenderloins. I cook them in the air fryer. A serving of those has 5 smart points. I scanned it this morning to see if it had changed, and so far it has not. I suspect it will. Obviously, they're working tirelessly to try to update the point values for all of the branded foods and the restaurant foods and those kind of things. So I suspect that it will change. But just for my own peace of mind, if I eat that until Weight Watchers catches up with it, I'll still count the point values. I would much rather, for me, overestimate the points on something I'm eating than underestimate and think that I can eat more and have a gain. But, that's just my way of thinking. Restaurants are going to be the same thing. They're changing. They're trying their best to catch up. But, you'll just have to use common sense. If you go to a restaurant and you order chicken, ask them, is there anything on my chicken? I don't want oil on it. I don't want butter on it. I don't want a sauce on it. If you want the sauce, put it on the side so that you control how much is there, and then adjust accordingly. But, you're going to have to take some personal responsibility, at least in the very beginning, until all of the bugs are worked out. We had the same issue with Smart Points. We had the same issue with Points Plus. Nothing is perfect. There are always going to be little glitches along the way, so just be patient. Rollovers. You can roll over up to 4 points per day until your next weigh-in day, and then those, just like your weeklies, start all over again. I roll over 4 points every day because I don't eat all of my points, because I'm getting my meals from, the majority of them, from the lean and fibrous foods off of the 0-point food list. So I go to bed every night with points left over. I have since we were given the opportunity as employees to start the Freestyle plan. But I still don't eat those rollover points as a matter of routine. Occasionally I'll have a meal where I dip into those, but for the most part, they're just there. They're like my savings account. I don't touch them, but that's what they're there for. If you need them, if you have a special event coming up and you want to save some extra points. But it's going to be just like your weekly points. If you found that eating weekly points before caused you to gain, then you will probably find that eating the rollover points might end up with the same result. You'll just have to try it and see what works for you. Let's see, what else? What else do I need to tell you? I was going to show you, but I didn't get a chance to go to the grocery store yesterday. I'm going to do that this afternoon. But let me tell you real quick, 2 recipes that we now have every week that are 0 points, and they're super easy. Even those of you who say, I don't cook, you can do this. It's really simple. It's not a big deal. The first one I posted yesterday while I was riding home from Houston is the bird balls. Mud Hustler, I believe, was the creator of this recipe, and I've just tweaked it with the changes. But I put a pound of ground turkey breast. It has to be turkey breast to get the 0 points. If you do just regular ground turkey, you're going to have to count the points. But I do a pound of ground turkey breast, a pound of ground chicken breast, a can of Rotel tomatoes, 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, any kind of breadcrumbs, whatever you have around. You don't even have to put those in if you don't want to. I've done it without them. A 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and 1 egg. I stir all that together, and then I scoop it into muffin tins. I make mine into between 12 and 18, but almost always 18 small meatball size portions. I bake those at 350 for about 20 minutes. If you get 18 meatballs, they're 0 points apiece. If you do them much larger, like I think 12 or under, they're going to have 1 point apiece. But if you do them large enough, it kind of dilutes the point value of the cheese and the breadcrumbs so that they come down to 0. I do those for lunch. After they've cooled off, I put them in sandwich bags, put them in the refrigerator, and then for lunch, when I pack our lunch in the mornings, we just grab a sandwich bag out, throw them in our lunch bag, and I roast a pan of vegetables, and that's our lunch. Taco soup now I make that comes out to 0 points, and it couldn't be easier. In the pan, I put a pound of ground turkey breast with some garlic and onion. I cook that down until the onion is tender. I add a package of, actually for us, I add half of a package of taco seasoning. And then I just throw a bunch of cans of stuff in. I throw a can of whole kernel corn. I throw a can of black beans. I throw a can of pinto beans. I usually throw at least 1 can of Rotel tomatoes. We love Rotel, sometimes 2. I'll put in a can of diced tomatoes. I've been known to put in a can of green beans. Whatever I have in the cabinet that's from the 0 point food list, I throw it in there. And then I add a half a package of Hidden Valley Ranch dressing mix. Stir all that together and let it simmer for however long you want it to, half an hour, whatever. Nothing in that recipe has added point value because of the amount of servings in it. Now, it is going to have some sodium, so you probably want to drink some extra water when you eat something that has that much sodium in it, or you may, find out the next morning that your hands are a little bit swollen from all the salt in it. But that's just an example of how easy it is to have a very filling meal, even if you don't consider yourself a cook. It's super easy to make stuff like that. Let's see. Let me see if I can get some of your questions real quick. How many small meatballs per serving? That's totally up to you, Paula. We eat 2 at a time with a whole bunch of vegetables. But, however hungry you are, but I wouldn't go crazy with it. 2 is plenty for me. Occasionally my husband will have 3, but I don't think I've ever had 3. I think I'm usually fine with just 2. Let's see. Kim says it's offline for her. I don't know why it's offline. It's showing on my computer, so hopefully y'all are still able to see it. I'm drinking my white Christmas coffee this morning. I'm trying to get in the mood for Christmas here in Texas, even though it's still in the 70s. Okay, maybe we did go offline with some of you because the comments have slowed down or stopped coming in. So I'll go back online after this is over and read your comments and try to answer any I can. And, would using frozen veggies be better than canned? Yeah, less sodium, Cindy, that's for sure. And if I have the bags of frozen vegetables, I do that. But if not, I just throw in the canned, and I drink extra water to kind of compensate it. You can use no salt. Yeah, anywhere you can eliminate salt, I think you're better off. There's so many other ways to season your food, and salt can hurt some of us. Some of us are very, very sensitive to it. So any way you can get salt out of your diet, I would suggest doing that. Let's see, where can we find your recipes? A lot of them are in our file section. I'll try to be better about putting them in there. We also, if you don't know, we have a Pinterest page called Weight Watchers Over 50, and we post a lot of recipes there. I do not drain the cans, Eileen. I throw everything in there, and the water from the vegetables becomes the stock for my soup. That's how easy it is. I can do this when I get home from work at night and have it ready for dinner. It's 0 points, so if you wanted to have a piece of cornbread or some crackers with it, now you've got those points freed up to do that. Again, just use portion control. Does rinsing your veggies help? It probably does, but I don't. I just throw it in the pot and let it all cook together. It hasn't hurt me so far. I've done fine with it. But again, try it. If you find out that if you feel like it's causing you to retain from all of the sodium, then you might try those, or find your own way of doing it. That's just one thing that we do, and that works for us. So, okay. Somebody asked me to be honest with you about my thoughts on Freestyle. So here goes. I think, I can't remember exactly when it was. I'm thinking it was in August that we were told about Freestyle and encouraged to start living the lifestyle. So I have for 3 months. I have not tried to lose weight in those 3 months because I'm at goal and just focusing on maintaining where I am. I am almost 3 pounds down without trying. I'm absolutely convinced, had I been trying to lose weight, I would have lost a good bit more than the 3 I have lost. What I do and what works for me maintaining is I eat very strict Monday through Friday. Lisa, it's called Santa's White Christmas Coffee by Barney's. It's Keurig pods. It's not flavored. It just kind of has a hint of Christmas flavorings in it. Anyway, I eat very, very strict Monday through Friday, all day. And then on the weekend, I relax a little bit. I will let myself have, a treat at lunch or dinner. Last night we had pizza for dinner. We got back in from out of town. We were tired. We were hungry. I had gone to the grocery store, so we had pizza, and I didn't stress about it because I knew that this morning I would be right back on plan, being ultra strict for the week. That's working for me at maintaining my weight. I've decided that this week I'm going to focus on losing on the Freestyle plan just so I can share with you at how that's working for me. I really, really believe that this plan is going to be helpful to a lot of us in losing weight, and I'm going to join you in trying to prove that. I like the plan changes in that it causes me to lean more towards chicken breast or turkey breast, where before I would have bought just the regular ground turkey, or maybe even I would have used ground beef. So now, even without thinking about it, I pick up the ground turkey breast because I know it's 0 points. So it's causing me to think about things like that. I'm eating more vegetables. because they're zero. It's psychological. So I like that. I like that it's encouraging me to make those choices. I eat a lot more salads than I did before. I snack on processed things less than I did before because I'm stingy with my points. Even if I have the points and I know I'm going to have some left over at the end of the day, I'm still stingy with them. So it's causing me to make better choices. And I think that's the plan, I think that was the motive. So I like it for that reason. I can't tell you that I've lost a tremendous amount of weight in it, but that's because I haven't tried. But I can tell you that I've had a lot more indulgences than I did before, and I have maintained my weight and lost, a couple of 3 pounds. So I think you're going to like it. Give it a try. Don't go into it with the mindset that I don't like changes, it's not going to work. That's not doing you any good. The plan has changed. Period. Just like it changed from Points Plus to Smart Points, Points Plus went away. Smart Points has not gone away. It's just been made better. So go with it. Go with the flow. Remember how we did that? Try it. If something comes up that you don't like, figure out a way to like it. This was not done by Weight Watchers to make your life miserable or, to pick on you. It was done because we evolve, our science evolves, and so they're always looking for ways to help us learn to make better choices, and I think this is a great tool. So I encourage you to be excited about it and try it. Okay, let's see. Hang on just a second. My messages are going crazy, popping up here. Let me close them for a minute. Jane is another leader, and she says her mind shift is so good with Freestyle when eating out. Jane, I'm finding the same thing. I look at the menu entirely different now, and I don't hesitate to ask them to modify a meal for me at a restaurant, and I haven't found anybody who wasn't willing to do it. So Linda says her fish taco bowls went from 8 to 3. That's the beauty of it. The personal responsibility of it is just because it's now 3 doesn't mean that you should double the amount that you were eating. You may be able to, but you may find that doing that is going to cause you to gain. So you have to take responsibility for you. Weight Watchers isn't Big Brother. They're not going to come slap food out of your hand. You have to do that. So that's my encouragement for you today. I'll try to be online as much as I can today to answer questions. I'm working from home, and so I have to do that too. But I'll try to answer your questions, and I know the other folks who are doing the plan will be very happy to answer your questions and help. So give it a try. Give it a real try. Don't go into it with your mind made up that it's not going to work. That doesn't help you. Try to be positive about it. This is a good change. I'm really, really excited about this change, and I hope you are too. But you know what? Even if you're not, I would ask you to do this. There are a lot of people who come to this group looking for support and encouragement, and some of them come here and they're desperate. So before you post something negative, and before you spout some Debbie Downer mentality, would you do something for me and just stop and think, okay, is what I'm about to type going to help someone, or is it going to discourage someone? And if it's going to be a discouragement, if you really just feel like you need to get it off your chest and vent, would you send it to me in a private message rather than post it for the board where it's out there to discourage somebody who's already on the verge of giving up anyway? I'm happy to talk to you about it privately, but I would really rather it not be out there to pull the rug out from under somebody who is teetering on the edge anyway. So if you would do that for me, I would really appreciate it. Other than that, let's remember to be kind to each other. Think twice before you call somebody a name. And have a wonderful day. And if you modify a recipe with the changes, I'd love to hear about it. And other than that, let us know how you're doing. And when you go into your meeting this week, go in with your mind set to like the changes, make your leader's job a little bit easier. They're, anxious about these meetings and how everybody's going to respond. So do your leader a favor and be supportive this week. And I will see you online, and I'll see you here next Monday. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.